Hello, welcome to IT Expert YouTube video series. Today we are going to talk about project charter. How to write a project charter. A good project charter can decide whether the project even gets started. It gives authorization for the project to become active, so the project manager needs it before they can access resources. Here's everything you need to know to make the perfect project charter. Project charter definition. A project charter sets out the scope, objectives, and people involved in the project. This formal document uses all that information to authorize the project. So the charter lets the project manager use organizational and outsourced resources to complete the project. Can a project charter be changed? Like any project document, the charter can be amended and updated. Sometimes, it is even necessary to meet the project objective and statement of work. The project initiator, sponsor, or change control board has to approve changes. Before the project manager proposes changes to the charter, they need to consider the effect on these: time, scope, cost, quality, risk, resources. How to make a project charter. Use these headers to build your charter so it covers all the essential elements. Introduction. Explains the project's purpose. Includes the project name, a brief description, and the formal authorization. Project business case, goals and scope. Sets out the scope of the project and any unique characteristics. Success criteria. The critical factors that determine the project's success. This is a list of deliverables expected on project completion. Deliverables. More detailed primary project requirements or key deliverables. Budget. The cost estimate for the project, including information about who can approve expenses, both from the allocated budget. Includes any additional spending the project may require. Schedule milestones. A comprehensive schedule with project milestones, or stages, for measuring its progress and success. Constraints and assumptions. Detail the known and unknown parameters of the project. Summary of risks. Summarize any potential or real major threats to the success of the project. Team and organization. List the people and stakeholders who will work on the project. Outline their roles and who is appointed the project manager. An organization chart is a good way to show the project team framework. Approvals. Finally, set aside a section for the project sponsor, client, and stakeholders to record their approval of the project charter document. How to present a project charter. It is important to present the project charter properly to guarantee project approval. Just attaching a PDF or slideshow to an email is not really sufficient, but you can do this after a formal presentation. Create a slideshow and present your project charter to the sponsor, client, or stakeholders in a meeting. Give them time to ask questions. It is a good idea to include team leads and some team members in the presentation. Here are some presentation tips. Be prepared to adjust your presentation style according to your audience, and tailor it to fit. Pass out 1-2-page printout summaries of the presentation. Analyze your audience. Who are the primary and technical decision makers? What are their preferences? How do they feel about the project? Expect people to ask questions and talk during the presentation, and be prepared to answer questions prior to the conclusion. Make eye contact with your audience and adopt an open body language style, but avoid extravagant body and hand movements. Avoid reading your presentation from notes in your hand. Key elements of a project charter. The project management charter serves as a reference document. It should define these three main points. What is the essence of the project? What are the goals and objectives of the project? How are you planning to reach and achieve these goals and objectives? Why does this project exist? Provide a shared understanding of the project. The charter should communicate its value and/or reason for existence to every person who has a part in it, from the team to the project manager, stakeholders, sponsors, etc. Can we agree on this project? The charter acts as a contract between the project sponsor, key stakeholders, and the project team. By noting the responsibilities of each party involved in the project, everyone is clear what their duties are. How to create a project charter. So, those are the broad strokes, and while a project statement does not need to go into great detail, there are many more key elements to it than these general statements. Remember, the sections outlined below should be short because they refer to more detailed project planning documents, such as a scope statement, project budget, risk management plan or request for proposal. 1. State the project information. This first section in your project charter is where you will include your project's general information, such as its name, description and who are the project sponsor, project manager, team members and stakeholders. 2. Define project team roles and responsibilities. An important function of a project charter is to document who are your team members and what their roles and responsibilities are. You should also identify the main stakeholders. It is always crucial to note the stakeholders in any project, for they are the ones who you will be reporting to and, in a sense, managing their expectations. The sooner you know who they are, the sooner you can build a productive stakeholder management plan. 3. Identify project goals and project objectives. It is important for project managers to differentiate between these two. Project goals are the high-level benefits that the project should generate, while project objectives are the specific milestones or steps that are needed to complete them. If you do not have a clear target, your project is going to miss the mark. 4. Present a business case. A project charter needs a business case because it essentially states the reasons for undertaking the project. It helps project managers explain what are the business needs that the project will meet and what are the expected financial benefits and return on investment for project stakeholders. A good way to sell the project is to have a sense of what good the project will bring to sponsors and stakeholders. Figure out what those benefits are and list them here. 5. Outline the project scope. What are the in-scope and out-of-scope items? The scope is the boundaries of your project, such as its start date and when it concludes. So, what are the in-scope items, such as those parts of the project process as opposed to tasks or actions that lay outside the step-by-step process of the project? Outline your key project deliverables and milestones. Later, during the planning phase, you will need to create a scope statement that describes the project scope in more depth. 6. Create a project timeline. A project timeline is a simplified version of your project schedule. This project timeline should show key deliverables, milestones and project stages so that stakeholders understand the big picture. 7. Build the project budget. While you will go into greater detail when you create the project budget, here is where you want to get a ballpark figure on what project costs you expect. Define the budget for the project and who will have spending authority. Include the estimated costs for the tasks you have defined, but be aware that new project requirements and tasks will require adjustment of this budget. 8. Note key assumptions and constraints. It is important to write down all the assumptions or constraints that can have an impact on the development or execution of your project plan. Noting key assumptions is very important for stakeholder management, as setting clear expectations is key to success. You also want to have at least an outline of how you are going to deal with project constraints. If you do not cover it now, you will have to play catch up later. 9. Log key project risks. Identify all potential risks that could arise in the project so you are not taken by surprise. Here you will want to highlight the most probable or impactful risks so that stakeholders are aware of them early on. This should be followed up by a risk register and risk management plan in your project plan, where you detail how you will resolve those risks and who on the team is responsible for catching and fixing them. 10. Define project requirements and success criteria. The project management team and project stakeholders must reach an agreement in terms of success criteria. The most common aspects to determine project success are the triple constraint elements: time, cost and scope. But depending on the project, there can be many project requirements such as risk tolerance levels and quality standards. What are the uses of a project charter? There are a lot of documents necessary to run a project. Before you even get started, there are many you have to create, from a project plan to a project budget and more. All these documents delve into detail on the items you have broadly stroked out in your project statement. So, why do you need another document? Is not it redundant? While it is true you are going to cover this ground on a granular level, this is your first pass, and there is a reason it is more general and comes before everything else. The following are 3 main uses of the document. You need it to authorize your project. This is the document that sells the project to your stakeholders and defines broadly what their return on investment will be. It is like an elevator pitch, so it has to sell the project. It serves as a primary sales document. When you present this to the stakeholders, they now have a summary to distribute or present when approached about other projects, so they can focus their resources where they are needed. This is a document that stays with you throughout the life cycle of the project. You will be referring to it throughout, whether at meetings or to assist with scope management. The charter acts as a roadmap without all the minutiae to distract you from other project materials. Tips on writing a project management charter. There is a process for writing a project charter, which starts with knowing what is the vision of the project. That vision statement cannot be vague, but must capture the purpose of your project, defining the end goal for the project team. Vision. Once you have the vision clear, then you can break it down into more practical bits. Objective. List 3 to 5 objectives of the project, be smart. Specific, measurable, achievable, realistic and time-bound. Scope. Now outline the formal boundaries of the project by describing how the business may change or alter by the delivery of your project. Also note what is relevant to the scope of work and what is not. This is how you maintain better control of the project. Deliverables. Describe each of the deliverables the project is tasked to produce. Once you have gotten all of them down, you have got a foothold on your charter and are ready to move on. You can use a WBS template to help identify your deliverables. Organize. When you are building a structure for your charter, there are 4 subsets you are going to need to identify. This is done by listing the following. Customers and users. To complete this list, ask yourself, what is a customer and/or end user in the context of this project? Who are the project customers? Is there a specific individual or entity responsible for accepting the deliverables of the project? Stakeholders. As noted earlier, identifying the stakeholders of the project is crucial. They are the person or entity within or outside of the project with a specific key interest in that project. It might be a financial controller overseeing costs or the CEO, but whoever it is, they will have a slightly different focus depending on their role. Roles. You need to assign the key roles and responsibilities to those involved in delivering the project, from the project sponsor, project board and project manager. After each entry, writes a short summary defining their role and what their responsibilities are in the project. Structure. Now you need to define the lines of reporting between these various roles in the project. Use a project organization chart to do this. It diagrams the structure of an organization and the relationships and roles of those involved in the project. Implementation. You have a vision and have organized the various parts of your project. Now you have to develop a plan to implement them. There are 4 parts to this. Plan. If you are going to implement, then you need an implementation plan. This is a way to develop an atmosphere of confidence for your customers and stakeholders by listing the phases, activities and timeframes of the project's life cycle. Milestones. Milestones mark major phases in the project and collect smaller tasks into bigger chunks of work. The project should only have a few of them, that is why they are milestones, but they are an important way to acknowledge the completion of a key deliverable. Dependencies. List all key dependencies and what their importance is to the project. These are tasks or activities that are linked to one another, as they will impact the project during its life cycle. Resource plan. What resources are involved in the project? Break down this list into labor, equipment and materials. This is how you will know what you need before you need it, and you will be able to estimate your budget more accurately. As the project progresses, and changes are introduced, you will need to adapt your resource plan. Project Manager features workload and resource management tools that let you quickly see everyone's workload, so you can reassign tasks as necessary. This keeps everyone from being over or underworked. Final tip: presenting your project charter. Given the current circumstances, you did be most likely doing so remotely, rather than in person. Ensure that the font sizes will work for different screen sizes. Avoid using animations, as these may not look great during screencasting if someone's connection is slow. Provide enough white space to make the on-screen reading experience easier. Also, when doing your virtual project charter presentation, always look directly at the camera, rather than at your slides. Maintaining eye contact is important for making such interactions more personable and delightful. Why are project charters useful? The main reason every project needs a project charter at the very start is because without it, there is no proof or official document that an authorized project manager defined and presented a project and gained its approval from stakeholders to proceed. A project charter also provides several benefits. Formally authorizes the project to commence. Creates a common vision and shared understanding of the project. Empowers the project manager to lead the project. Identifies the high-level objectives and scope of the project. Defines what success will look like at the end of the project. Gains support for the project by announcing it to the whole organization. Ensures that key stakeholders are aware of the project. Secures budget and resources for the project. Serves as the point of reference for the project team. Thank you for watching this video. We provide hands-on training with labs, homework, group projects. Prepare you for the certification. Provide real projects. Internship opportunities. Support you in Resume, LinkedIn. Staffing support. Provide tech references. In-person, online class. Class retake options and more. Call us at 847-350-9034 for your free career consultation meeting. Please do not forget to like, share, and subscribe to our channel for the latest videos.